It looks like we are live. So thank you very much, anyone who is tuning in right now, and good afternoon to you all. We have just presented to you, we have our tea and cake at the ready, and we hope you all do too. Please do share on Twitter and on Instagram or whatever your social media platform of choice is.
In the chat.
Or in the chat. Preferences are. Hello everyone, we are Sun and Moon Theatre, and welcome to Tea and Cakespeare, an event in association with Bristol Shakespeare Festival and IntoBodmin.
While our tour of Much Ado About Nothing was sadly cancelled for this summer due to obvious reasons, we were approached by these brilliant organisations to deliver an online Shakespeare event. So we got to thinking about this and thought, what do we want to do? What do we want to do for an online event? And lockdown saw an increase in online Shakespeare and baking. So we have combined the two together. So we have our lovely Victoria sponge and our tea here ready to go. Our teapot is ready. We've got our cake, and we'll be delivering a few scenes, speeches and sonnets from Shakespeare, including some stuff from our past shows, which we're really excited about. But
before we begin, let's just take a quick moment to introduce ourselves. I'm David Johnson from Sun and Moon Theatre.
Yeah, and I'm Melissa Barrett from Sun and Moon Theatre. We're just going to introduce our lovely guests who are with us today. We've got three wonderful actors who we've worked with on many of our shows over the last couple of years. First of all, Georgina Brown.
Hello, I'm Georgie Brown.
Sally Naylor.
Hello, I'm Sally Naylor.
And Emerson Pike.
Hello, they just said my name.
And our special guest, producer of the Bristol Shakespeare Festival, Helen Orphin.
Hiya. So you might have noticed Bristol Shakespeare Festival has been removed from our beautiful park home this year due to obvious circumstances. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us in our digital edition for this year. It's been going well so far, and we really hope you enjoy what we've got in store for you this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you.
Yeah, obviously, we're very sad to not be able to be performing live. We miss the outdoor spaces. I mean, the weather, the way it was yesterday and today, sort of makes us feel that this weekend we potentially weren't missing out too much. But we have had lovely weather throughout this season in general.
Yeah.
And yeah, we love the live performance, and we have done it in all weathers, as we'll go into a little later on.
Yeah. If anyone watching from who normally comes to see us at St George's Park, we miss you. We miss you so much this year.
And we hope to be back when we're able to.
Our scenes, speeches and sonnets that we're going to do now will be followed by a Q&A with Helen on open air Shakespeare, which we're really looking forward to. And we will conclude today's event with a Zoom version of our mechanical scenes from our summer tour of A Midsummer Night's Dream last year, which was set in 1999.
And so, yes, just a quick question before we begin our small selection of performance pieces. Yeah, absolutely, go right ahead. So just before we start, a quick question for our wonderful actors. What got each of you into Shakespeare in the first place?
I had never done Shakespeare, or performed Shakespeare before A level. I'd always studied it at school as more of a literary text rather than as something that was up on its feet like a play. The first ever experience I had performing Shakespeare was doing Olivia in Twelfth Night for a short scene at A level. And then I never did it again until second year of uni when I auditioned for As You Like It and got cast in the Sun and Moon production of As You Like It. And that was my second ever experience of performing Shakespeare. And I've loved it ever since. Just it's gotten me way more into it, and I enjoy every bit of it now.
Good answer.
I'll jump in. So I first did Shakespeare in the form of Kiss Me Kate, the Cole Porter musical, and I was playing Fred Graham and Petruchio, and I was about 16. It was the first ever show I did in front of a paying audience, and I couldn't sing very well, but they basically lied to me and said that the lead role didn't really have that much singing. So the singing really wasn't very good, but the Shakespeare I found I was all right at, and absolutely adored it, and the rhythms and just how much fun it was, especially in Kiss Me Kate, just the fieriness and the back and forth of the language, and yeah, and it just went from there really.
Fantastic. I'd love to hear a rendition of I've Come to Wife at Wellesley and Padua from you at some stage in the future.
No, the poor few hundred people who saw that, they'll never be inflicted on the world again.
For me, I think, so we did our year 6 production was Midsummer. So I was Helena for one of the first plays I ever remember doing. And then we didn't really do it until English sort of A-level. And I just fell in love with the language. I think it's almost like Shakespeare's a literary puzzle, and you're constantly trying to work out what he's saying and what he's meaning. But when it clicks into place, it's like a rush that I don't think I get from other type of plays. So I really enjoy kind of working out where the characters are coming from and why they do what they do. So it's really fun to still be able to do that and tackle a new one every year.
Fantastic.
Helen, how did you get into Shakespeare?
Well, obviously, studied it at school, and then I did literature at university, so dipped in and out of it there. But actually, I hadn't done anything to do with Shakespeare until I was working in a bar, and I saw the ad for Bristol Shakespeare Festival for volunteers for the shows. And yeah, I did that year, and since then I've been producing it, and I've never ever looked back. It's so much fun.
How about you?
Fantastic. I think it's actually going back quite a long way. I think I first properly got invested in forming Shakespeare when I was in my second year at college, because the first proper Shakespearean role I played was Antonio in a production of The Tempest, and I think I felt an affinity for the text and language that not everyone else felt. A lot of people, when they're approaching Shakespeare for the first time, often feel a bit of a disconnect, and they can struggle to get their head around it. And I suddenly found, am I a bit weird that I'm understanding this quite easily? It's I think that's my experience performing Shakespeare anyway, but I think I've always had a fondness for it pretty much ever since. But I think the etymology of my liking of Shakespeare goes back even further than that. To, I think I'm reading Romeo and Juliet, and I'll say the Scottish play at school, and again, being the odd one out, the kid in the classroom actually was quite enjoying it rather than being dumbfounded by it. And yes, I've liked it a long time, and I think something that always appeals to me about Shakespeare is there's so much to be discovered and rediscovered. When you have played a part before and then years later you come back to it, you see the play through a completely new perspective. Through experiences in your own life, your understanding and knowledge has expanded so much that you're suddenly seeing something and understanding it anew. And it's something that's that wonderful timelessness about this text and these stories and these characters and everything about it. I'll stop there to keep it brief.
Yeah, no, I very similarly to David had a bit of a thing where I really found, I remember being warned when I went into year 9 at school, being warned that because I would be doing Shakespeare for the first time, and they said, everyone said to me, Shakespeare's really hard, it's really difficult, it's hard, and it's not, or it's boring, and I was dreading it for a while. And then I found when I was studying it, I loved it so much. Maybe others in the class did too, but it's hard to know, but I knew that I really loved it, and I just ate up Shakespeare and wanted to get involved in it in any way that I can. I went to I was a member of the Year Out Drama Company in Stratford-upon-Avon. That's where I met David, where we got to eat up a lot more Shakespeare and do a lot of Shakespeare plays and scenes and things. Carried on doing a lot of Shakespeare in my English degree as well. I did a lot of Shakespeare modules, and then when I finished my degree, I did a master's degree in staging Shakespeare. So yeah, that was my journey into Shakespeare in a nutshell. Just love it, so enjoyable. So today, Shakespeare, cake, tea, I'm in a very happy place.
So yes, without any further ado, we shall hand over to the wonderful Sally, who will commence our performance pieces with Sonnets 23. So if everyone else can mute and switch off their microphones and cameras, over to you, Sally.
And then there was one. So we're going to start off with Sonnet 23. That's one of my favourite sonnets as an actor. And yeah, let's just see how we go. As an unperfect actor on the stage, who with his fear is put beside his part, or some fierce thing replete with too much rage, whose strength's abundance weakens his own heart. So I, for fear of trust, forget to say the perfect ceremony of love's rite, and in mine own love's strength seem to decay, o'ercharged with burden of mine own love's might. Oh, let my looks be then the eloquence and dumb presages of my speaking breast, who plead for love and look for recompense more than that tongue that more hath more expressed. O learn to read what silent love hath writ. To hear with eyes belongs to love's fine wit.
Thank you, Sally. That was wonderful. Over to me now. I'm going to be performing a very familiar speech to most people. This is the famous Jaques speech from pretty much the dead center of As You Like It. This speech, I think it's a strange. My relationship with the speech is a strange one because I think for the longest time I wasn't actually that fond of it, and I don't think it was until we put on our own production of As You Like It and spending several months sort of immersed in the world of this play and our take on it that my appreciation of it really grew, because I think I always felt that this speech felt so disconnected from the action of the plays. Shakespeare's written this wonderful speech and needs somewhere to put it, so I'll just stick it in this slightly unusual play. But yeah, my appreciation of As You Like It, and in particular this speech, really grew as that time went on. So now it's a speech I've got a great deal of fondness for. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. First, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. Then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress' eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honour, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big, manly voice turning again towards childish treble pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all, that ends this strange, eventful history, is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
Thank you. That was really lovely, David. Thank you. Just brings back memories of our As You Like It production, where you didn't actually play Jaques.
No.
You played.
Yeah,
no. One of the actors we work with quite frequently, Richard Knox. Hope you're watching, Richard. We miss you. He played Jaques, but in that particular production, God, it's a lovely speech. So nice. So now we're going to do a scene from Midsummer Night's Dream, which was our show last year. As we said earlier on, we're going to do the scene between Hermia, Helena, and Lysander.
Lysander to a slightly lesser extent.
Thanks.
Keep promised love. Oh, look, here comes Helena.
Godspeed, fair Helena. Wither away.
Call you me fair? That fair again unsay. Demetrius loves your fair. Oh, happy fair. Oh, teach me how you look, and with what art you sway the motion of Demetrius' heart.
I frown upon him, yet he loves me still.
Now that your frowns would teach my smiles such skill.
Oh, the more I hate, the more he follows me.
The more I love, the more he hateth me.
His folly, Helena, is no fault of mine.
None but your beauty. Would that fault were mine.
Oh, take comfort. He no more shall see my face. Lysander and myself will fly this place.
Wait, fly this place?
Helen, to you our minds we will unfold. Tomorrow night, when Phoebe doth behold her silver visage in the watery glass, That's pretty good. Decking with liquid pearl of bladed grass, a time when lovers' flights does still conceal, through Athens' gates have we devised to steal.
And in the wood, where often you and I upon faint primrose beds were wont to lie. Yeah. There, my Lysander and myself will meet. Thence from Athens turn away our eyes to seek new friends and strange companions. Farewell, sweet playfellow. Pray thou for us, and good luck grant thee thy Demetrius. Keep word, Lysander, we must starve our sight from lovers' food till tomorrow deep midnight.
I will, my Hermia. Helena, as you want him, Demetrius, dote on you.
How happy some or other some can be. Through Athens, I am thought as fair as she. But what of that? Demetrius thinks not so. He will not know what all that he doth know. And as he errs, doting on Hermia's eyes, so I, admiring of his qualities. Things base and wild holding no quantity, love can transpose to form and dignity. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind. Nor hath love's mind of any judgment taste, wings and no eyes figure unheedy haste. And therefore is love said to be a child, because in choice he is so oft beguiled. As waggish boys in game themselves forswear, so the boy love is perjured everywhere. For ere Demetrius looked on Hermia's eyne, he hailed down oaths that he was only mine. And when this hail some heat from Hermia felt, so he dissolved, and showers of oaths did melt. I will go tell him of fair Hermia's flight, then to the wood will he tomorrow night pursue her, and for this intelligence, if I have thanks, it is a dear expense. But here in me nigh to enrich my pain, to have his sight thither and back again.
Do that. Hello, let's try that again. So I'm going to be reading for my first bit sonnet 130, which I had never come across until Melissa and David put it in front of me and went, can you please do this as part of a performance we're doing? And I really like it, basically because it's just Shakespeare mocking the other romantic poets that were his contemporaries. So yeah, let's get to it. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun? If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I've seen roses damasked red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any she belied with false compare.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Sam. That was really lovely. So I'm going to do a speech from Love's Labour's Lost, Baron's speech that he speaks out to his male friends who all agreed to swear off women, and this is where he decides, nah, let's not do that after all. I did that speech for a variety show that we did about 5 years ago now. It was a piece on lovers in Shakespeare, so it's really lovely coming back to this. Consider what you first did swear unto, to fast, to study, and to see no woman, flat treason against the kingly state of youth. Say, can you fast? Your stomachs are too young. And abstinence engenders maladies, And where that you have vowed to study, lords, in that each of you have forsworn his books, can you still dream and pore and thereon look? For when would you, my lord, or you, have found the ground of study's excellence without the beauty of a woman's face? From women's eyes, this doctrine I derive. They are the grounds, the books, the academs from whence doth spring the true Promethean fire. Why, universal plodding poisons up the nimble spirits in the arteries as motion and long during action tires. The sinewy vigor of the traveller, now for not looking on a woman's face, you have in that forsworn the use of eyes, and study too, the causer of your vow. For where is any author in the world teaches such beauty as a woman's eye? Learning is but an adjunct to ourself, and where we are, our learning likewise is that when ourselves we see in ladies' eyes, with ourselves, do we not likewise see our learning there? Oh, we have made a vow to study, lords. And in that vow, we have forsworn our books. For when would you, my liege, or you, in leaden contemplation have found out such fiery numbers as the prompting eyes of beauty's tutors have enriched you with? Other slow arts entirely keep the brain, and therefore finding barren practisers, scarce show a harvest of their heavy toil. But love, first learned in a lady's eyes, lives not alone immured in the brain, but with the motion of all elements, courses as swift as thought in every power, and gives to every power a double power above their functions and their offices. It adds a precious seeing to the eye. A lover's eyes will gaze an eagle blind. A lover's ear will hear the lowest sound. When the suspicious head of theft is stopped, love's feeling is more soft and sensible than are the tender horns of cockled snails. Love's tongue proves dainty, Bacchus gross in taste. For valour, is not love a Hercules? Still climbing trees and Hesperides? Subtle as Sphinx, as sweet and musical as bright Apollo's lute strung with his hair. And when love speaks, the voice of all the gods make heaven drowsy with the harmony. Never durst poet touch a pen to write until his ink were tempered with love's sighs. Oh, then his lines would ravish savage ears and plant in tyrants mild humility. From women's eyes, this doctrine I derive. They sparkle still, the bright Promethean fire. They are the books, the arts, the academes that show, contain, and nourish all the world. Else, none at all in aught proves excellent.
Transitioning now to a scene that sort of continues in a similar thematic vein. This is a scene, relatively comical scene from As You Like It, which was our open air show back in 2018. We have our actors reprising their roles from that production, with the exception of myself. I'll be reading in for the part of Silvius. So yes, please forgive me if I'm a little rusty, because this isn't the part I play. But nonetheless, over to you all.
Oh, my dear Orlando, how it grieves me to see thee wear thy heart in a scarf.
It is my arm.
I thought thy heart had been wounded with the claws of a lion.
Well, wounded it is, but with the eyes of a lady.
Ah, did your brother tell you how I counterfeited to swoon when he showed me your handkerchief?
Aye, and greater wonders than that.
Oh, I know where you are. Nay, 'tis true. There was never anything so sudden. For your brother and my sister, no sooner met that they looked. No sooner looked, but they loved. No sooner loved, but they sighed. No sooner sighed, but they asked one another the reason. No sooner asked the reason than they sought the remedy. and in these degrees they have made a pair of stairs to marriage. They are in the very wrath of love. They will together. Clubs cannot part them.
They shall be married tomorrow, and I will bid the Duke to the nuptial. But oh, how bitter a thing it is to look into happiness through another man's eyes. By so much the more shall I tomorrow be at the height of heart heaviness. By how much shall I think my brother happy in having what he wishes for?
Why then tomorrow I cannot serve your turn for Rosalind?
I can no longer live by thinking.
I will weary you then no longer with idle talking. Know of me then, for now I speak to some purpose, that I know you are a gentleman of good conceit. I speak not this that you should bear good opinion of my knowledge, insomuch, I say, I know you are. Neither do I labour to greater esteem than in some little measure I draw a belief from you to do yourself good, and not to grace me. Believe then, if you please, that I can do strange things. I have since I was 3-year-old conversed oft with a magician, most proficient in his art, and yet not damnable. If you do love this Rosalind as so near the heart as your gesture cries it out, when your brother marries Aliana, shall you marry her? I know in what straits of fortune she is driven, and it is not impossible for me, if it be not inconvenient to you, to set her before your eyes tomorrow, human as she is, and without any danger.
Speakest thou in sober meanings?
By my life I do, which I tender most dearly, though I say I am a magician. Therefore, put you in your best array, bid your friends, for if you will be married tomorrow, you shall, and to Rosalind, if you will. Ah, look, here comes a lover of mine and a lover of hers.
Youth, you have done me much ungentleness to show the letter that I writ to you.
I care not. It is my study to seem despiteful and ungentle to you. Look, you are there followed by a faithful shepherd. Look on him. Love him. He worships you.
Good shepherd, tell this youth what 'tis to love.
It is to be all made of sighs and tears, and so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of faith and service, and so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of fantasy, all made of passion, and all made of wishes, all adoration, duty, and observance, all humbleness, all patience and impatience, all purity, all trial, all observance, and so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And so am I for Rosalind.
So am I for no woman.
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
Why do you speak too? Why blame you me to love you?
To her that is not here, nor doth not hear.
Pray you no more of this. It is like the howling of Irish wolves against the moon. I will help you if I can. I would love you if I could. Tomorrow meet me all together. I will marry you. If I ever marry a woman, and I'll be married tomorrow. I will satisfy you. If I ever satisfy man, and you shall be married tomorrow. I will content you. If what pleases you contents you, and you shall be married tomorrow. As you love Rosalind, meet. As you love Phoebe, meet. And as I love no woman, I'll meet. So fare you well. I have left you commands.
I'll not fail if I live.
Nor I.
Nor I.
Transitioning now once again to our next sonnets. This one is the one I've chosen. This is Sonnet 91. This is probably one of the most straightforward sonnets in terms of how easy it is to understand and interpret. It doesn't really seem to contain any archaic hidden meaning. It's quite clear. But I think it's just one that ever since I first heard it about 12 years ago, I think it's just one that's resonated with me. Finding oneself as someone who doesn't have a great deal to boast of in terms of personal stature or ability, and yet feeling that as long as you have one thing that's really worthwhile, you'll consider yourself a very fortunate and happy man indeed. Some glory in their birth, some in their skill, some in their wealth, some in their body's force, some in their garments, though newfangled ill, some in their hawks and hounds, some in their horse. And every humour hath his adjunct pleasure, wherein it finds a joy above the rest. But these particulars are not my measure. All these I better in one general best. Thy love is better than high birth to me, richer than wealth, prouder than garments cost, of more delight than hawks and horses be, and having thee of all men's pride I boast. Wretched in this alone, that thou mayst take all this away, and me most wretched make.
So the next scene that we're going to do is that scene between Emilia and Desdemona from Othello. Sally and I did this scene together for an event we did a couple of years ago called All the World's a Stage. Funnily enough, we did that at the Signet Theatre in Exeter as part of the Exeter Literary Festival. And this was the scene that Sally requested. So Sally, do you have anything you want to say about it before we start?
I love Othello. I think it's a beautiful play. Every part in it is just so well written and so well thought through. And I think I used to hate Desdemona. I thought she was a real sop, but actually she's not. She's got a strong sense of who she is, and she just can't fathom that the person that she loves doesn't understand, doesn't love her, and she just holds on to that to the end, really, until that moment where, oh, he's going to murder me. But it was just really interesting to play and to delve into Desdemona, who I'd really not got before, and to realise actually she's an incredible character. So that's why I wanted to play it, and that's why we did, and that's why we're doing it now.
Absolutely agreed. I love Othello as well. I did it at A-level, so and I've never done a production of it. I really hope we do someday, because those Emilia and Desdemona, they're just wonderful. It's fantastic. So let's go into it. How goes it now? Looks gentler than he did.
He says he will return incontinent, and hath commanded me to go to bed, and bid me to dismiss you.
Dismiss me?
It was his bidding. We must not now displease him.
I would you had never seen him.
It would not I. My love doth so commend him that even his stubbornness, his checks, his frowns, prithee unpin me, have grace and favour.
I have laid those sheets you bade me on the bed.
All's one. Good father, how weak are our minds. If I do die before thee, prithee shroud me in one of those same sheets.
Come, you talk.
My mother had a maid called Barbary. She was in love, and he she loved proved mad and did forsake her. She had a song of willow, an old thing 'twas, but it expressed her fortune, and she died singing it. That song tonight will not go from my mind. I have much to do but to hang my head all at one side and sing it like poor Barbary. The poor soul sat singing by a sycamore tree, sing all a green willow, her hand on her bosom, her head on her knee, sing willow, willow, willow. The fresh streams ran by her and murmured her moans, sing all a green willow. The salt tears fell from her and softened the stones, sing willow, willow, willow. Hi there, he'll come on. Sing all a green willow must be my garland. Let nobody scorn him his... Nay, that's not next. Hark, who's the knocks?
The wind.
I called my love false lust, and what said he then? Sing all a green willow. If I could more women, you'll catch with more men. So get thee gone. Good night. My eyes do itch. Thus that by weeping.
There's neither here nor there.
Heard it said so. These men. These men. Does thou in conscience think, tell me, Amelia, that there be women's do abuse their husbands in such gross kind?
There be some such, no question.
Would thou do such a deed for all the world?
Why, would not you?
No, by this heavenly light.
Nor I neither, by this heavenly light. Might do it as well in the dark.
Wouldst thou do such a deed for all the world?
The world's a huge thing. 'Tis a great price for a small vice.
In troth, I think thou wouldst not.
In troth, I think I should, and undo it when I had done. Marry, I would not do such a thing for a joint ring, nor for measures of lawn, nor for gowns, petticoats, nor caps, nor any petty exhibition, but for all the whole world. Why, we would not make our husband a cuckold to make him a monarch. I should venture purgatory for it.
Beshrew me if I should do such a wrong for the whole world.
Why, the wrong is but a wrong of the world, and having the world for your labour, 'tis a wrong in your own world, and you might quickly make it right.
I do not think there is any such woman.
Yes, a dozen, and as many to the advantage as would store the world they played for. But I do think it is their husbands' faults, if wives do fall. Say that they slack their duties and pour our treasures into foreign laps, or else break out in peevish jealousies, throwing restraint upon us, or say they strike us, or scant our former having in despite. Why, we have galls, and though we have some grace, yet have we some revenge. Let husbands know their wives have sense like them. They see and smell and have their palates both for sweet and sour as husbands have. What is it they do when they change us for others? Is it sport? I think it is. And doth affection breed it? I think it doth. Is it frailty that thus errs? It is so too. And have not we affections, desires for sport and frailty as men have? Then let us use them well. Else let them know the ills we do, their ills instruct us so.
Good night. Good night. Heaven me such uses lend, not to pick bad from bad, but by bad mend.
Okay, so my next speech is going to be Edmund's speech from Act 1, Scene 2 of King Lear. Very much like King Lear, but I'm not old enough to play King Lear yet, and that is still one of my ambitions, is to be the first King Lear to be performed on Mars. So I just say to Elon Musk, stop being a nightmare on Twitter and pull your finger out so I can get to that. But I'm going to do Edmund because the last time I did the speech was in a workshop on Shakespeare, and it was with somebody who said you have to be an absolute slave to the iambic pentameter and you cannot deviate from it, and you have to perform Shakespeare this way. So I'm only doing the speech because it's got a lot of fun hard consonant sounds in it, but also to show don't want to be slave to the iambic all the time. Okay, here we go. Thou nature art my goddess, to thy law my services are bound. Wherefore should I stand in the plague of custom and permit the curiosity of nations to deprive me? For that I am some 12 or 14 moonshines lag of a brother. Why bastard? Wherefore base? When my dimensions are as well compact, my mind as generous, and my shape as true as honest madam's issue. Why brand they us with base? With baseness, bastardry, base. who, in the lusty stealth of nature, take more composition and fierce quality than doth within a dull, stale, tired bed go to the creating a whole tribe of fops got tween asleep and wake. Well then, legitimate Edgar, I must have your land. Our father's love is to the bastard Edmund, as to the legitimate. Fine word, legitimate. Well, my legitimate, if this letter speed and my invention thrive, Edmund the base shall top the legitimate. I grow. I prosper. Now, gods, stand up for bastards.
Okay, so I'm going to be reading Sonnet 53 now. And this was a sonnet that I'd read previously at the All the World's a Stage event back at the Signet Theatre. And it was one I fumbled with when we performed it, so it's nice to have another chance to read it. What is your substance? Whereof are you made that millions of strange shadows on you tend? Since every one hath every one shade, and you but one can every shadow lend. Describe Adonis, and the counterfeit is poorly imitated after you. On Helen's cheek all art of beauty set, and you in Grecian tires are painted new. Speak of the spring and poison of the year. The one doth shadow of your beauty show, the other as your bounty doth appear. And you in every blessed shape we know. In all external grace you have some part, but you like none you, the constant heart.
Thank you, Georgina. That was wonderful. Moving along now to our next short scene. This scene is taken from Twelfth Night, which I think is probably my favorite Shakespeare play. I think we performed it for pretty much the duration of 2017. And I think my appreciation of the play just grew and expanded so much throughout that time. And I think it's because, for me personally, I think it's one of the most perfectly balanced between comedy and tragedy, and also one of the most perfectly balanced in terms of ensemble as well. Every character has a great journey and arc throughout. So there's great roles for everyone involved, and and I think what we really realized was it's largely a play that's about grief. And for us putting on the production, it was really useful for us throughout that year. It was quite a bewildering year for so many reasons, and to confront sort of a very heavily grief themed play and spend a lot of time reflecting on and performing in that, balancing between adulent joy and genuine contemplative melancholy was very useful. To Emerson, rather, would you rather say a quick word about your portrayal of Sir Toby? That's the scene we're doing.
Sorry, about oh yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean, it was all your guys' idea for kind of adapting Toby's character in the World War I setting and as a driver for his increasingly boorish and pretty malevolent behavior as the show goes on, and tying it into having the idea that he had a son who was away fighting on the front lines. And as the show progressed, we just have like soldier delivering telegrams that were kind of, your son's missing and your son's dead, and they were kind of the trigger points for Toby to be stepping up his bad behavior and his drinking, and yeah, just giving him that arc in that context, I thought was really wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, we'll get into the scene now. This is probably one of the much more light-hearted scenes, having been speaking about the heavier themes, but this is a much more light-hearted scene from the first act. Well, let's begin. Sir Toby Belch, how now, Sir Toby Belch?
Oh, sweet Sir Andrew.
Bless you, fair shrew.
And you too, sir.
Accost, Sir Andrew, accost.
What's that?
My niece's chambermaid. Huh?
A good mistress accost. I desire better acquaintance.
My name is Mary, sir.
Good mistress Mary accost.
You mistake, knight. Accost is front her, board her, woo her, assail her.
I'm sure I would not undertake her in this company. Is that the meaning of accost?
Very well, gentlemen.
And thou let part so, Sir Andrew, would thou mightest never draw sword again.
And you part so, mistress, I might never draw sword again. Fair lady, do you think you have fools in hand?
Sir, I have not you by the hand.
Oh, knight, thou lackest a cup of canary. When did I see thee so put down?
Never in your life, I think, unless you see canary put me down. Methinks sometimes I have no more wit than a Christian or an ordinary man has. But I am a great eater of beef, and I believe that does harm to my wit.
No question.
And I thought that I'd forswear it. I'll ride home tomorrow, Sir Toby.
Pourquoi, my dear knight?
What is pourquoi? Do or not do? I would have bestowed that time in the tongues that I have in fencing and dancing and bear baiting. Oh, had I but followed the arts.
Then hadst thou had an excellent head of hair.
Why, would that have mended my hair?
Past question, for thou seest it will not cool my nature.
But it becomes me well enough, does not?
Excellent, it hangs like flax on a distaff. And I hope to see a housewife take thee between her legs and spin it off.
Faith, I'll home tomorrow, Sir Toby. Your niece will not be seen, or if she be, 4-1 she'll none of me. The Count himself here hard by woos her.
Oh, she'll none of the Count. She'll not match above her degree, neither in estate, years, nor wit. I have heard her swear it. Come on, there's life in it, man.
I'll stay a month longer.
Thanks, guys. Okay, so we're going to continue with the 12th night hoopla with the scene. Well, some of the scene because it's quite a long one. Some of the scene between Viola and Olivia. Interestingly, I played Viola in a couple of productions. One during my MFA. And one that was our production as well, and we had many Olivias during that process. I think it was played by but a couple of different actresses. It was played by Emily Hollio, Chelsea Marie, Louisa Wilde. Yeah, so we had 3 Olivias through the tour, and Georgina, you played Olivia in a completely different production, but we're now coming together. Which is quite exciting. What was your production? I mean, I saw it, but in your words.
I played Olivia twice now. Once back at A level, which was my first ever introduction into playing any kind of Shakespearean character, and I just fell in love with 12th Night then, and I loved it so much. And I was lucky enough to play her in full production back at uni last year, and I've just always loved playing Olivia. She's very close to my heart, particularly because she's the first Shakespearean character I've ever played. So fun to be doing this again.
Yeah, she's fab. They're both fab. Great women again. Another scene with 2 amazing women. And I am. David just said, check your camera position. It's like, yeah, I've done that. I've done that this time. Yeah. So yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, love these. Love this play. Okay. Good madam, let me see your face.
Have you any commission from your lord to negotiate with my face? You are now out of your text, but we will draw the curtain and show you the picture. Look you, sir, such a one I was this present. It's not well done.
Excellently done. If God did all.
'Tis in grain, sir, 'twill endure wind and weather.
'Tis beauty truly blent, whose red and white nature's own sweet and cunning hand laid on. Lady, you are the cruelest she alive, if you will lead these graces to the grave and leave the world no copy.
Oh, sir, I will not be so hard-hearted. I will give out diverse schedules of my beauty. It shall be inventoried and every particle and utensil labelled to my will, as follows. Item, 2 lips, indifferent red. Item, 2 grey eyes with lids to them. Item, 1 neck, 1 chin, and so forth. Were you sent hither to praise me?
I see you what you are. You are too proud. But if you were the devil, you are fair. My lord and master loves you. Oh, such love could be but recompense, though you were crowned the nonpareil of beauty.
How does he love me?
With adorations, fertile tears, with groans that thunder love, with sighs of fire.
Your lord does know my mind. I cannot love him. Yet I suppose him virtuous, know him noble, of great estate, of fresh and stainless youth, in voices well divulged, free, learned, and valiant. And didn't I mention in the shape of nature, a gracious person, but yet I cannot love him. He might have took his answer long ago.
If I did love you in my master's flame, but such a suffering, such a deadly life, in your denial I would find no sense. I would not understand it.
Why? What would you?
Make me a willow cabin at your gate? Call upon my soul within the house? Write loyal cantons of contemned love and sing them loud, even in the dead of night? Hallow your name to the reverberate hills and make the babbling gossip of the air cry out, "Oh, Livia, oh, you should not rest between the elements of air and earth, but you should pity me."
You might do much. What is your parentage?
Above my fortunes, yet my state is well. I am a gentleman.
Get you to your lord. I cannot love him. Let him send no more. Unless, perchance, you come to me again to tell me how he takes it. Fare you well. I thank you for your pains. Here, spend this for me.
I am no free post, lady. Keep your purse. My master, not myself, lacks recompense. Love make his heart of flint that you shall love, and let your fervour like my master's be, placed in content. Farewell. Fair cruelty.
What is your parentage? Above my fortunes, yet my state is well. I am a gentleman. Be sworn thou art, thy tongue, thy face, thy limbs, actions, and spirit do give thee fivefold blazon. Not too fast. Soft, soft. Unless the master were the man. How now, even so quickly may one catch the plague. Methinks I feel this youth's perfections with an invisible and a subtle stealth to creep in at mine eyes. Well, let it be. What ho, Malvolio?
Here, madam, at your service.
Run after that same peevish messenger, the countsman. He left this ring behind him. Would I or not tell him I'll none of it? Desire him not to flatter with his lord, nor hold him up with hopes I'm not for him. If that the youth will come this way tomorrow, I'll give him reasons for it. Hide thee, Malvolio.
Madam, I will.
I know not what and fear to find. Mine eye too great a flatterer for my mind. Fate, show thy force. Ourselves we do not owe. What is decreed must be, and be this so.
Hello, me again. Okay, very simply, I'm doing the St. Crispin Day speech from Henry V, and I'm doing this for a very simple reason, in that it's my girlfriend's favorite Shakespeare speech. So I'm doing it for her. So this one is for Eliza. What's he that wishes so? My cousin Westmoreland? No, my fair cousin. If we are marked to die, we are now to do our country loss. And if to live, what the fewer men, the greater share of honour. God's will, I pray thee, and wish not one man more. By Jove, I am not covetous for gold, nor care I who doth feed upon my cost. It yearns me not if men my garments wear, such outward things dwell not in my desires. But if it be a sin to covet honour, I am the most offending soul alive. No, faith, my cuz, wish not a man from England. God's peace, I would not lose so great an honour as one man more methinks would share from me for the best hope I have. I do not wish one more. Rather, proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispin. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand a tip-a-toe when the day is named, and rouse him at the name of Crispin. He that shall live this day and see old age will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbours and say, tomorrow is St. Crispin. Then will he strip his sleeve and show his scars and say, these wounds I had on Crispin's day. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot, but he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Then shall our names, familiar in his mouth as household words, Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester, be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispin shall ne'er go by from this day to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Be he ne'er so vile this day shall gentle his condition, and gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed that they were not here and hold their manhoods cheap whilst any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's day.
Thanks, Sam. Thank you. Or Emerson, sorry. Oh, David, I can see you on another screen. This is shocking. Can you turn it around? Does that work? Yeah, that works. Okay, we're trying a bit of an experiment here, which is normally when David and I do events, we normally share the same screen because we don't want to mess up feed in the same house. So this is a bit of an experiment. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to do Kate and Hotspur. They're one of our favorite pairings in Shakespeare. This is one of the last ones of this part of the event, and then we're going to be having our Q&A, which we're really looking forward to. But yeah, this actually, Dave, do you want to say anything so we can make sure we can hear you? Oh, okay.
Okay, yes. And how's that sounding? Just to check.
Yeah, it sounds fine. I think so.
Okay.
So.
There's a chance this may go wrong, but let's just bear with it. Luckily, it's it's not especially long scene. Also, I'm noticing my eye line is really weird because the camera is over there, which I'm not used to. But no, this scene, pretty much every time we do one of our small compilation events rather than a full play, we'll always pick this scene. It's the scene we've got so much fondness for. I think Kate and Hotspur are probably one of our favourite Shakespeare couples to portray. We've never actually done Henry IV Part 1, the play in which these two characters appear. But we've got such a fondness for this relationship, and they only really get a couple of scenes together, this one being probably the most significant. So yes, it's a great desire of ours to, at some point, for me to be able to play Hotspur and for you to play Lady Percy. At some stage. We'll see what the future holds. But yes, I think it's just, there's something so impactful about the relationship between these two, and we sometimes see productions that really undervalue it, but I think this scene really speaks volumes and resonates with us especially. So yes, that's enough preamble.
Okay, let's go for it.
And now, Kate, I must leave you within these 2 hours.
Oh my good Lord, why are you thus alone? For what offence have I this fortnight been a banished woman from my Harry's bed? me, sweet Lord, what is that takes from thee thy stomach pleasure and thy golden sleep? Why dost thou bend thine eyes upon the earth and start so often when thou sits alone? Why hast thou lost the fresh blood in thy cheeks and given my treasures and my rights of thee to thick-eyed musing and cursed melancholy? In my faint slumbers, I by thee have watched and heard thee murmur tales of iron wars. Spirit within thee hath been so at war, and thus hath so bestirred thee in thy sleep, that beads of sweat have stood upon thy brow like bubbles in a lake-disturbed stream, and in thy face strange motions have appeared, such as we see when men restrain their breath in some great sudden hest. Oh, what portents are these? Some heavy business hath my lord at hand, and I must know it, else he loves me not.
What sayest thou, my lady?
Does it carries you away?
Why, my horse, my love, my horse.
Ah, out, you mad-headed ape. A weasel hath not such a deal of spleen as you are tossed with. In sooth, I'll know your business, Harry, that I will. But if you go...
So far afoot, I shall be weary, love.
Come, come, you parakeeto, answer me directly unto this question that I ask. Indeed, I'll break thy little finger, Harry, if thou wilt not tell me true.
Away! Away, you trifler. Love, I love thee not. I care not for thee, Kate. This is no world to play with mammets and to tilt with lips. We must have bloody noses and cracked crowns and pass them current too. God me my horse! What sayest thou, Kate? What wouldst thou have with me?
Do you not love me? Do you not indeed? Well, do not then, for since you love me not, I will not love myself. Do you not love me? Nay, tell me if thou speak'st in jest or no.
Come, wilt thou see me ride? And when I am a horseback, I will swear I love thee infinitely. But hark you, Kate, I must not have you henceforth question me where I go, nor reason whereabouts, whither I must. I know you wise, but yet no further wise than Harry Percy's wife. Constant you are, but yet a woman, and for secrecy no lady closer. I well believe thou wilt not utter what thou dost not know. So far will I trust thee, gentle Kate.
How so far?
Not an inch further. But hark you, Kate, whither I go, thither shall you go too. Today will I set forth, tomorrow you. Will this content you, Kate?
It must. Of force. That certainly was an experiment. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to conclude this part of the event with my sonnet that I did not write. William Shakespeare wrote it, Sonnet 97, which I did a couple of times for different events that we've had, a few variety shows, including one we did this year at the Mission Theatre in Bath for an event that we did called From Shakespeare with Love. And it's one that I've really been very fond of for quite some time. It reminds me a lot of many experiences I've had over the years of being apart from people. But of course, ever since this crisis began and as we've been going through over the last few months, it feels like it hits even harder now, this idea of absence. So, yeah. My family watching, I'm missing you right now. How like a winter hath my absence been from thee, the pleasure of the fleeting year. What freezings have I felt, what dark days seen, what old December's bareness everywhere. And yet this time removed was summer's time, the teeming autumn, big with rich increase, bearing the wanton burden of the prime, like widowed wombs after their lord's decease. Yet this abundant issue seemed to me but hope of orphans and unfathered fruit. For summer and its pleasures wait on thee, and thou away, the very birds are mute. Or if they sing, 'tis with so dull a cheer that leaves look pale, dreading the winter's near. Oh dear, I'm actually crying. That was unexpected. I'm gonna walk away for a second.
Everything suddenly got a bit too real. So yes, thank you very much. That concludes that section of this Tea and Cakespeare event. Everybody, can you please switch our cameras and microphones on as we move into our Q&A section? Which we reintroduce Helen. Thank you for waiting patiently with your camera off that whole time. But we hand over to you now to ask a few questions about outdoor theatre and Bristol Shakespeare Festival. And it's your call, really.
Oh, no pressure then. So thinking about times gone by. Now hopefully Melissa's recovered a little.
Oh dear, it's never made me cry, that sonnet, but it made me cry today. Sorry, carry on.
Handful under the circumstances, I think. Thinking of happier times then, you guys have been with us over, this is obviously the 4th year now, in a very, very different capacity. Let's think back over the years you've spent in the park and some of you guys' favourite memories from that.
Do you guys want to go first, actually? Georgina, Sally and Emerson.
I think last year's show, when we did Midsummer, we did it twice, one right after the other, which was fun, kept us going. But it was just such a lovely atmosphere. I think we all came out absolutely buzzing from just the crowd and how everyone was just getting involved and smiling, and you knew that everyone was kind of on our side and we were there with everyone. Yeah, we all kind of came out like, wow, that was awesome. And we had some children come up to us as well, and just say how much they enjoyed Shakespeare and how that the show that we'd done kind of explained Shakespeare in a new way to them, which, as someone who experienced Shakespeare for the first time as a kid, meant a lot, because it's like, yes, next generation. So yeah, I think I'll remember that one for a long time to come.
Yeah, it's always really really affirming to have kids come up to you after the shows you've done. I've mostly had this happen at the Bristol performances we do. Parents mostly coming up to you saying that this is their child's first experience of Shakespeare and they've understood it and they've enjoyed it, and you know, it's really nice to hear that. I think there's one photo that I really love from the St George's Park production we did last year with George, who played Peter Quince and Oberon, sat amongst this massive audience watching the mechanical short film. It's one of my favourite photos from the run, I think.
Okay, Bristol Shakespeare Festival. One of my favourite ones was probably the 12th night that we did in the absolute pouring down rain. That was a really fun experience, and it was torrential the entire show. Didn't let up, didn't stop. We had musicians, which we were gallantly trying to cover with brollies to make sure the violins and the guitars didn't get ruined. But because our production of 12th Night, obviously it's got the balance of the melancholy and the humour, and a lot of productions kind of lean much more into the humour, and I was kind of led a bit more into the melancholy whilst still having the humour. So just having that torrential rain for some of the scenes, it was a wonderful atmosphere, and well done to the audience who stuck with it. Sorry, need more water. It was a wonderful feeling. I have strong memories of that. Also, that Christmas tree we had got completely ruined, but it made it into the winter run anyway. I mean, it's plastic, so you know, it should tolerate a bit of rain. But I think it's we were heavily anticipating, once it started raining, about an hour and a half before the show was due to start, we
heavily anticipated there wouldn't be an audience. So we probably would have to just call the show off. But then an audience showed up. They had their umbrellas, they had their raincoats, they were ready for a show, and so we were ready to give them one. We thought, yeah, we don't mind getting wet as long as our audience are dry and as long as the instruments stay dry, then we'll get drenched in the rain. We can have showers and baths later when we get home. But yeah, it was a fantastic experience. I think on a slightly more superficial level, earlier that day, our early afternoon performance was done under glorious sunshine, and we had lots of picnicking audiences there, including one group fired a champagne cork into the air in the midst of the caterwauling scene where I was playing Sir Andrew, and I caught the champagne cork mid-scene, which was a very proud moment for me. Then my hand was thrumming for the next 5 minutes because it didn't not hurt. But that's a more superficial good memory, but that was specifically Bristol, specifically that from that same day. Do you have one?
No, I think there's so many. It's so hard. I mean, everything that you all said, and you said, they're all really fun memories. It actually is genuinely hard to pin down one. I mean, I think I can only think off the top of my head. I should have really thought about this even more. It's just because there's so many. I think it's so many different memories. This is not a favorite memory, but one that's coming to my mind. This is definitely not a favorite, but it's an experience of doing open air, which was the time when we were doing As You Like It, and we got dive bombed by a seagull, and that was terrifying. Asked to think of your favorite one, I immediately think of that one. No, that was terrifying. But looking back,
sorry about that.
Because yourself and Richard left chips. But actually, didn't you and Richard in character as Jake Wees and Orlando went and bought chips?
Yeah, so
and then brought them in.
We wanted to either have like drinks, ice creams, just whatever we could have in whatever location we were doing, just for that scene, just to have them doing something. And
that reminds me so much of what I really love about open air Shakespeare, is which I'm sure we'll get to in a bit as well, but is that feeling of just spontaneity of where you are on the day, that things like that can come up. And we've had some lovelier moments as well. We've had actually something that's a favorite of mine is when dogs come into the productions. Those are generally my favorite moments, is when dogs make appearances in the show when they're not even meant to make appearances, but they're always an absolute joy when they make their way in. Also the rabbit as well.
We choose not to ignore these things. If something that is spontaneous happens, we won't act like it's not happening and roll on. It's part of the show. It's part of that spontaneous experience. Sally, I think you're best to talk about the rabbit experience.
Yeah, so the thing we just did, where I'm like, I'm a magician, obviously. A rabbit, a white magician's-esque rabbit, just hopped across the stage at that moment, which was just perfect. And I think Emerson as Orlando was like, yeah, obviously you're a magician. Here's your rabbit.
I didn't believe you, but now obviously it's true.
Yeah. So that was a crowning moment.
I think we've also had moments where, yes, when you mentioned dogs, when dogs will bark approval or will growl disapproval depending on which character is speaking. When I was Oliver in As You Like It, scheming evilly at the start of the play, there was a dog growling at me as I walked off the stage. And they're smart. They know what's going on. They can interpret Shakespeare better than most people. But there've been dogs who voice their approval as well.
Or when Oberon was putting the love juice onto Titania, that was a great one. Like Oberon was putting the juice. That was George Bradley was putting the love juice onto Titania, and a dog started growling so much, and we were cracking up, laughing behind the trees. So yeah, lots of favorite memories. I think
one other one I'll mention quickly. This was last year's Bristol Shakespeare Festival, because I mean we've mentioned audience feedback, and it is always really wonderful talking to audiences afterwards, especially when people bring their young children, even bring their babies along, saying it's their first experience. It's really nice to be able to just come along and see it. I think there's a woman who came up to us after our show and said that her teenage son or grandson, I have to verify that with, said that,
grandson.
Said that he'd been dreading it all week. But he said to her about 20 minutes in, he turned to her and said, "This is surprisingly good." So I think that was a particular highlight.
That was great praise.
It's one thing to have people who come to see it and were looking forward to it, enjoy the show, but so when you have someone who wasn't looking forward to the show end up being completely won over, it's another thing entirely.
I think one of my favorite bits of feedback was, I've got to 50 without enjoying Shakespeare. This is the first time I've ever enjoyed Shakespeare. And that was so happy. So yeah, those kind of things are lovely.
Yeah.
And as you said, Sally and Georgina, when you were saying about kids and their first experiences, oh, that's just so lovely. Love it. Makes me very happy.
Yeah.
So speaking of children and first experiences of Shakespeare, for the first time last year, you guys did a performance for a City Academy as well, right? How did that go?
Did it come about because we did the show at St George Park? I think
Yeah.
we were approached by a teacher who said, "Oh, we noticed you're doing a show that's right around the corner from where our school is. Would you?"
I remember this, I disturbed you guys on holiday for that one.
We just got married, I think, at that point. We were on our mini moon. I were on our mini moon, and yeah, you gave us a call about the school, and yeah, we had a great time. Georgina, you weren't able to make it because you were graduating that day, so it was a real scrape together of, okay, we need to cover Georgina's every moves. Where, you know, so Sally, you took on Helena. For that, we were all multi-rolling in this production. We tend to have very small casts a lot of the time, easier to fit when we're driving around, to have smaller casts, and we do a lot of doubling. And yeah, so Sally took on Helena, I took on Snug, or as we like to call Snoog, and 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 did I do Philostrate as well?
Well, no, I think I did.
You did. So we all came together to fill your shoes, Georgina. Took 3 actors, oh, it was a fab experience. I wish I had the feedback to hand right now, but we got feedback from the students afterwards. So, performing for schools, performing for especially teenagers, is always scary, especially with Shakespeare. You don't know what they're going to think at all. And but I find that teenagers tend to be, I don't know if this will make sense, but I always think they're like Saved by the Bell audiences. You know, they will cheer and whoop at a tiny little kiss, or if someone starts fighting, they're like going, yeah. It's really quite an experience, isn't it? I love, you know, when it goes well.
Yeah. It did go well, by the way. No, it was wonderful to perform for the school. I mean,
they were lovely.
We'd love to be able to do that again. Obviously, this year scuppered any plans somewhat, but once we're able to get outdoors and put on live shows again, we'll be hoping to open more doors and perform for schools again more often.
I think it was really lovely when we got really positive feedback afterwards. We were reading them in the car, reading the comments in the car on the way home, and it was so. And some of the things that were really, really, really nice was just people just knowing that some, because we had a tick box that said, have you ever seen Shakespeare before? And some people had said no, and it was just really just exciting being able to even knowing that this might be their first experience of Shakespeare, and to see some of the comments where they'd say, I've never seen this before, wow, I love this so much. And because that's the thing, your first experience seeing a Shakespeare show or studying it, either way, it can sort of shape what you wind up thinking about Shakespeare for good, I think, in many respects. So all we hope is that we can give people seeing it for the first time, young or old, giving it for the first time a really enjoyable experience, so they don't get put off Shakespeare for life. It's what we always aim for.
Yeah.
Don't put them off Shakespeare for life, hopefully.
Well, I've still got less than fond memories of everyone cringing over reading Romeo and Juliet in year 8, and then I think the first Shakespeare performance I saw, I don't recall where it was, but I remember very, very uncomfortable school bench style seating. Not the best introduction going to something quite a long show. Just like, is it done yet? Can I stand up and stretch my legs? I think the informality of open air Shakespeare as well really helps with that more relaxed engagement. because you can just get up and stretch. Obviously, a lot of our shows, people bring picnics, so they bring deck chairs as well. And the very prepared bring umbrellas and waterproofs.
Oh, definitely. You having some cake?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's one of the things I think I found I love the most about open air Shakespeare is the accessibility of it. As you were saying, this idea of bringing a picnic out, going to the park, that it's an experience. It's not just going to see a play, it's also the experience of being out and about with family or with friends, or with pets as well, because I mean a lot of the time people can't take their pets to see plays, and same with infants as well. I mean, that's something I think you were saying earlier on. We've had parents come up to us after performances, or if we have an interval during the break, saying, I never get to the theatre because I've got a tiny baby right now. It's really difficult to arrange childcare, and it's just in this particular parent said, just thank you so much for making this happen so I can actually go out and see things. I know that there are a lot of initiatives with theatres where they do things like where you can bring babies. I'm sure there are initiatives for that, but it's just nice being able to be part of that kind of way of thinking as well, and just saying that just anyone can come, just bring a chair, bring a blanket, whatever the weather as well, we'll do it, unless it's not safe. Of course, I think we were very close with that 12th night to thinking that it wasn't safe. I wonder if I should try and just to see if it works. Should I try and screen share it? The
screen share one.
The rainy one.
We can try it.
Yeah, just to see if it works, because then if it doesn't,
it's like our Kate and Hotspur scene is a gamble.
Yes. Hold on. I'll just get it now. And see if it works. If it doesn't work, then well, that's another thing. Just started straight away. What joys. Okay, so go on to Zoom. Let's see if I can do this. And this is the thing, technical stuff is just like hang on.
Well, it's kind of a bit of a weird one this year, hasn't it? Like, it's not how I imagined planning a festival would be this year, flipping everything across to digital and going, oh, I thought I was reasonably tech savvy. Now I'm just
Me too. Has it worked?
Yes.
Cool. Let's see if this works.
When I came to man's estate, with hey-ho, the wind and the rain, gates, knaves and thieves men shut the gate, for the rain, it raineth every day.
Oh, did that work? Did that work? Oh, the rain did raineth every day. It rained for the entire show, that particular production, for the whole hour and a half. It never stopped, whole way through. So yeah, that's the thing. So that's the thing. We were certain that show was going to be cancelled because of the rain. We thought, well, nobody is gonna come. No one's gonna come to this performance. We thought, well, we had one nice, because lucky thing about Bristol Shakespeare is that often every year we've done 2 performances in one day, which has been really nice. And we did an earlier one that day where it was sunny and it was fine, and then suddenly, for the next one, it just poured, and we just thought, no one's going to come to this. Let's all start packing up. And then people started showing up, and we just couldn't believe it. We just thought, oh my goodness, people are dedicated. They are coming. They've got their waterproofs on. And I think we were really shocked because this was the first time we'd performed at Bristol Shakespeare, so it was all new to us as well. And we couldn't believe the dedication. And we thought, well, we have to do it now. We must. These people have come. These people have come. They've made their way here, and we did it. And we were soaked, but we had a great time. And such a rush.
And we've gone back to St George Park the following 2 years, and we would be there this year.
Only not for
were it not for COVID, but we'll be back next year if we're able to.
Oh, my mum has just sent me a message just now reminding us of when the church bells went off in Stratford when we performed in the Dell.
Yeah, that was a different Midsummer Night's Dream. It's another one from last year, one from several years ago.
Oh, we did an 80s Midsummer. That was back in 2014, I think. Yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely cast of people that we worked with, mainly people from my MFA program. I miss you all, MFA people. But we did this show where, I think the church bells went off during A Midsummer Night's Dream, and it was around the time of all the wedding hoopla as well. And we just thought, this is chance. Did someone say something?
I think it was when the scene where Demetrius is pursuing Hermia, and it's and if I could, what would I get there for? I'm like, wedding bells. Are you talking proposals? That's the one thing I was thinking about the spontaneity of the outdoor performances is, if something happens, don't ignore it. If a plane flies over, in character, acknowledge it. If a dog runs across the stage, acknowledge it. If these things happen, and make it part of it.
Seagulls dive bomb over you, acknowledge it. That's I don't even know how we got there. We're just talking now. How did we get here?
I don't know. Another question, please, before we just ramble too much.
Well, it seems an opportune time as any to see what your plans are for next year, since we're talking about 2021 already. I can't believe that.
I know, it's bizarre. It's surreal. I think, 2021, hopefully a better year than 2020. I hope. So much. I think, in terms of plans, I know that we do. I mean, obviously, we were meant to do Much Ado About Nothing this summer, which we were devastated not to do in the end. But we will do it at some point in the future. We have all our publicity photos, so we must do it. Also, we love the play as well. It's a fantastic play. Weirdly enough, we didn't do any scenes from Much Ado today. I think it was in respect of our cancelled tour. We decided to avoid it.
Also on the basis of that very risky Hayden Hotspur scene. We thought, I think if we just do a particular favourite scene would possibly go very wrong. So we'll save it for when we're doing it live.
Someday. So for 2021, we're still thinking about what our summer show is going to be for next summer.
We have tended, especially with our open air shows, because you want to bring families and be very accessible. We tended to lean towards comedies when we've done our open air shows. I think they suit the open air atmosphere really well.
If anyone has any suggestions for what we should do next summer, comment in the chat.
Or over there, I don't know how I'm along.
Or wherever, this way. I was very Wizard of Oz of me there. If you've got any ideas for what we should do. We're thinking about it at the moment. We've got a few ideas in our head, but we'd love to be back at St. George's Park again. And also, of course, at Cardinham Woods. That's where, bringing back IntoBodmin into this, we performed via IntoBodmin as at Woods Cafe in Cardinham Woods, in their garden. That was where we kicked off our Midsummer tour, I think, last year, and we were all so anxious at the beginning. And I think it really got us into the groove of the tour, because we were all so anxious about how it was going.
You never know how it's going to go when you're performing in a new space for the first time, and no one in the area knows you. So I think, is anyone going to come and see our show? And we had a really great audience. They was really responsive. It also put our minds at ease, because we grew so familiar with the show at the stage, thinking, well, we think this stuff is funny, but is an audience going to think it's funny? They might hate it. No. We had such a great response. We really got the tour up to a great start.
Oh, definitely.
And we were already excited about going back. So if next year allows, then we'll go back again.
Yeah, go back. And St. George's Park, which we love and we keep coming back to, and hopefully I think we have a date booked in for Penley Park Open Air Theatre, which we were meant to perform this year for the first time.
It was meant to be yesterday,
and
it poured down with rain, so it's possibly a good thing that it didn't.
Well,
we would
have done it anyway. Yeah. And also, of course, other venues as well. We're really hoping. Baltimore House, that's another place that we perform. We've performed at many lovely open air spaces that we want to go back to. I think something we'd really love to do, we've been meaning to do this for a few years, is because we're based in Exeter as a company, and I think what we'd really love to do is to perform open air in the city. So that's something we're going to push for, I think, this year. I think we're gonna do our best and do our best to make it so for summer 2021, because we've been meaning to for so long, and it'd be fantastic to be able to perform in one of the green spaces in the city centre there, because it's right where we are. What else have we got going?
We're planning in the short term. We've got plans to put on another live streamed event in just a few weeks' time. Actually, I think this might actually be the official announcement of that.
Oh,
and
yes.
We've been a bit preoccupied because we've been planning this event, but I think we're setting aside the Saturday the 15th and Sunday the 16th of August to do our next live streamed readathon. We did a Pride and Prejudice readathon a couple of weeks ago, to sort of raise awareness and try and raise some support financially for local theatres, depending on where you're based, to do that. You can find it on our YouTube channel elsewhere. The recording is all there, including
all of Pride and Prejudice unabridged by over 100 actors. But we're going to do, we didn't think we were going to do another one, but we are. We're going to do Emma. And it's going to be over 2 days rather than just the one, because Emma's huge.
It's a longer book than Pride and Prejudice, so it will give ourselves a bit more time to spread it out.
Yeah,
and a bit more time to plan and prepare.
And I think in general and overall, I think we hope to do Much Ado. Maybe we might make Much Ado, maybe rather than being a summer show, we might make it a winter show, if at all possible, and continue to do as well online tuition as well. We like to do monologue coaching with people. So if anyone wants some monologue coaching, just get in touch with us over email or over social media. And this is a little bit of a thing that we it's always awkward saying, but obviously with our Much Ado tour being called off this year, obviously we're not no funds are going into our company this year. We are an independent company, and that is something that we've missed having. So if you would like to donate to our company, we had some people very kindly offer to donate to our company during the Pride and Prejudice readathon. Just get in touch with us, because we're currently setting up a donations page. Just get in touch with us at melissa.sunandmoontheatre@gmail.com. I think the email is in the event description as well. Sorry, I hate this part, but we do feel that we should, because we didn't have anything coming in this year, and luckily we're all okay, but a little support does help a lot.
It's money that goes towards future shows is the thing.
Yes, that's absolutely goes towards future shows in our company, whatever it is we do next year.
They pay for transport, costumes, publicity, all that stuff.
Yeah. How about Bristol Shakespeare Festival then, Helen? Like, what are the plans?
Oh, they are many and varied at the moment, courtesy of going round and round in circles about how things might look. We've actually really been enjoying having the digital element of the festival. Obviously, in a dream world, this would be more of an accompaniment to the festival than its entirety. Our only plan for this year originally was to obviously have our new website and get our program online. I meant the version of the print one, not the entire thing. Be careful what you wish for, I think, is the print. But at the moment, obviously, it's really hard to plan for next year, and obviously we want to make it as reliable as possible so that we have a range of options available, so that everyone feels secure booking and everyone feels comfortable as a company to book with us as well. So it's about making sure that we have 1,000,001 contingency plans in place, which are going to be really, really fun to write. Like, I can't stress enough how amazing that spreadsheet is going to look. But yeah, we will obviously aim to be back in the park with you guys, in all of the other venues we use around the city, who play host to us every year and are always super welcoming and helpful. Yeah, it's been a massive learning curve this year, trying to move everything to digital, particularly since I gave you guys really short notice about this, because we weren't going to do it. So I've been absolutely blown away by how many people have got involved, either by participating themselves or by watching whatever we've had on. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to take the best of how this has gone this year, add a little bit more tech savvy by the time next year rolls around, and have a fully whizzy program to return properly. And yeah, I say excited for how next year's going to look. If all goes well, it's going to be such a great year. It's going to be so nice to have everyone back together. We've really missed it. I feel lost this year. Normally I'd be running around all over the city being like, oh, someone's lost this, oh, do we have this? And this year I'm like, oh, well, I'm running from Zoom to Zoom. Does that count?
Oh, it does feel like that sometimes, that you're just running from Zoom to Zoom. Definitely. No, we're really excited. Can't wait. I think this is the thing. I think all the things that fingers crossed, we can get back to doing the things that we love to do in the future. Hopefully for summer 2021, we can only hope. I've just remembered something, actually. Another thing we didn't mention, just in case your sister's watching as well, is one of my favorite memories is we had a period of a couple of years where every time we performed in Stratford-upon-Avon at the RSC's Dell open air theatre space, we'd give David's sister Francis's dog Dottie, lovely Dottie, a cameo in every production that we did for a couple of years. And I think that those are some of my favorite memories. Shoehorning a dog in.
Well, it made complete sense when we did Two Gentlemen of Verona, because there's actually a dog. It's the play where there's actually a dog in it. Where we used a puppet for the run of the show, then brought a real dog into the show, and it was when Dottie made her acting debut and completely stole the show. And then the following year we did Twelfth Night, a play which does not feature a dog, but we shoehorned her in.
Toby and Andrew, we decided out partying
during a night of drunken revelry, have stolen someone's dog and brought it into the house.
Which makes total sense and doesn't feel crowbarred in at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that was our logic as well. And then we did As You Like It the following year, and we said, I think it was Corin's dog,
Chelsea.
Corin being the shepherd. I think it was an extraordinarily hot day for both Twelfth Night and As You Like It, and I think Dottie was probably really feeling it more than most. But yeah, so she made cameo appearances in those two shows, and a starring role in Two Gentlemen of Verona as well, which was glorious.
Did you say that we'd had a puppet beforehand?
We went for the Two Gents run.
Yeah,
those were indoor shows.
Yeah, we'd had a puppet, and then we decided it'd be nice to have a real dog. Yeah, she was great. So that's one of my favorite memories. Took me the whole conversation to get to that, but yeah, loved working with a real dog. The star. Yeah. Any other questions, or are we wrapping up in this section?
I think I've run out of things, apart from to completely back you guys on saying that obviously it's really important that if you can, to show support to your favorite arts venues and companies right now. Like, the support package from the government might sound huge, but actually break that down across all of us, and it's tiny at best. And if you guys do want people to make a reappearance, it really, however you show your support, bit of social media love, like a nice review, or I mean, obviously, the digital equivalent of loose change in your pockets, it will all make a difference, and it will be really, really valued. So Melissa, don't feel awkward about asking. Like, you guys do a great job, and you totally deserve that. Like, fundraising's always a horrible ask. It's just like, please, but no, it's right to ask, and it is needed to get us all through to next year and make sure that we're still here and hopefully back in the park.
Yes. Looking forward to it so much. Really looking forward to this. So thank you so much, Helen, and thank you everyone. The event is going to conclude. It's run way longer than we thought it would, but we didn't know. We didn't know how this is going to be. This is beautifully I'm trying to think of the word, it was put together in a bit of a very hasty, but we've really enjoyed doing this. So thank you everyone. So what we're going to do is we're going to close out with basically last year, our Midsummer Night's Dream, as we said, was set in 1999. We had a lot of fun with that production. We made us all feel very nostalgic, for most of us, for our childhoods. We decided, as part of this event, to throw together a Zoom version of the mechanicals scenes. Initially, we were going to do the whole of Midsummer on Zoom, but we decided to break it down to the mechanical scenes. We thought they'd work particularly well for Zoom. Technically, I think it's still set in the 90s. We just don't acknowledge it, I think. And just a bit of context as well. We have a bit of a secret that we feel a bit that we feel a bit sometimes we feel a bit embarrassed about, which is we don't actually like the play within a play in Midsummer Night's Dream. And I know it's I know it's so popular, and I've seen it done hilariously. It can be so good, but every time I've done Midsummer, I've always looked at it and just thought, we
have seen brilliant takes on it. We've also seen some awful takes on it as well.
Oh, it can be so bad.
It's meant to be a comedic highlight, because sometimes it can be this really protracted, overly drawn out section, and we're so close to the end of the play by this stage. Why draw it out? And sometimes it goes on for 25 minutes, half an hour, and sometimes the joke starts to wear thin, that it's meant to be bad.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that every time we always think. I think the first production I ever directed that was Shakespeare was A Midsummer Night's Dream back when I was doing my MFA, and very much still with that mind frame of I am not a fan of the play within a play. I decided instead, when I did my first degree, I did a lot of film modules as well. I love film as well as theatre, and I decided to make the mechanicals silent film actors, putting together a silent film, and it was set in the late 20s, so it was around the time that silent films were starting to be on the decline, and also as well, to top it off, the mechanicals silent films weren't brilliant. So I had a lot of fun with the people I worked with, putting together a silent film version of the mechanical scenes, which was a lot of fun. And then when we knew we were directing this last year, we thought, I had that same feeling again, even though we did a wonderful play within a play with the production we did, directed by Chase and Brooke back in 2014, where we did do the play within a play, which was a lot of fun. I just still had that feeling of, I'd kind of like to do another film again. So I'll hand it over to you. Actually, I've talked a lot.
If the 20s equivalent was a quite shabbily made silent film. There were wonderful silent films in the 20s, by the way, but this was because the mechanicals are not very good at what they do. This was a very bad.
They try very hard.
Film. The 90s equivalent is sort of a low quality indie film, with a director who has high opinions of his own ability and intelligence, which is not reflected in the actual quality of the work he produces. So what he believes what he's making is something brilliant, but it's actually quite awful.
Yeah, I was going to say, Emerson, could you say a little bit about your take on Bottom?
Yeah, sorry. If I had a note from my girlfriend, she's like, stop looking down. If I am, that is because I do have the Man United Leicester City match on down here, because it's the last day of the season. And it's a very, very important match. So I have been engaged, but I've also just been so if I'm like staring down, that's why. It's still 0-0, just in case.
You could have just been doing a lot of thinking.
Yeah, I've been very contemplative. No, so my bottom, because we set it in 1999, and Bottom has he's very eccentric and he has a very high opinion of himself. And I was thinking about actors who were big in that time period, who might come across as nice eccentric, and I just thought Nicolas Cage, because Nicolas Cage has some wonderful mannerisms, and his choices in his roles and how he portrays them, I thought you could translate that style very well to Bottom. So yeah, that's why I was kind of channeling as a starting point. Obviously it kind of became its own character, but that was my start point for Bottom, was Nicolas Cage circa 1999.
Yeah, and also Sally as well, you're Robin Starveling. What's Robin Starveling all about in this version?
Robin Starveling has been to drama school and has got a first, and this is her first thing out of drama school, and no one listens to her, and she's much better than everyone else, and in the end she's just like, what the heck have I signed up for? So basically she starts all enthusiastic, gets given the role of what does she get given the role?
Thisbe's mother?
Yeah
given
to flute, And that's it. She's just like, right, I'm just staying here because it's professional, and the professionalism just gradually declines.
And Georgie, how about Snoog? Snoog. We call her Snoog.
We call her Snoog. We called her Snoog because she wants to adopt a stage name in her acting debut. She's very enthusiastic, and she reads up a lot on her part of The Lion, which is the first part she's ever played in anything. She studies very hard and gets shortchanged by the end of the play because Peter Quince cuts her out of the movie, which is very sad.
As you will see.
And can you speak quickly about Flute and Quince?
Yes, I mean, we had the idea that we thought it with through a character like Quince, especially as a director in the 90s, even a director of low status and little discernible talent and ability, he nonetheless displays that arrogant misogyny, and that he'll always favour male actors over actresses. And
Experiences in drama.
So rather than cast Robin Starveling as Thisbe because she's by far the most talented and professional, he sort of adamantly knuckles down and casts his talentless non-actor friend Flute, who was played by me, who's never acted in anything. He's just sort of there to make up the numbers. So it just decides, you must play the sort of the semi-lead role, even though you are really not suited to it at all. Rather than give it to a talented actress, he'll knuckle down and give it to his non-talented friend. Almost just to prove a point.
Yeah, that's played by George Bradley, who's on holiday at the moment. Hi, George, if you see this later on. So this seems like a very long way of getting to the point, but we'll just say a quick disclaimer, which is obviously the film was what we screened during the performance last year, during our open air performance on a projector screen. So that is included in this Zoom version that we've done. We've basically inserted it into this Zoom version of it that we did. We will say that when we recorded it, Zoom had other ideas, and we did some occasionally, because we were using the same camera, we changed names, but Zoom recording didn't accept it. So Sally, who's playing both Robin Starveling and Titania, doubling, it looks like when she's Titania that it looks like it's still Robin Starveling. Just a heads up, no, it's Titania. It just didn't go through in the recording process for some reason. And also Richard Knox, who played Puck, was unable to record on this occasion, but I've taken it on for this particular version of it.
Well, that was another example of when Zoom refused to accept the change of name.
I excitedly stole David's camera and started typing in Puck's name on there, and it just didn't go through. So yeah, a few disclaimers. So again, sorry, this sounds so roundabout. We're just avoiding showing.
Let's get into it now, I think.
Yeah.
We'll be back to say
goodbye at the end.
Quick wrap up and goodbye at the end, yes.
Okay, I'll just get it now. I do.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just going to screen share now. Should we all switch our cameras off? Yeah.
Mute.
Oh, sorry. Cameras off.
Is all our company here?
You are best to call them generally man by man, according to the script, huh?
Well, here is a scroll of every man's name, which is thought fit through all Athens to play in our interlude before the Duke and Duchess on his wedding day at night. Part of the Millennium Festival's 48-hour film challenge.
First, good Peter, sorry, what was your name again?
Peter Quince.
Quince. Say what the movie treats on, huh? Then read the names of the actors and so grow to a point.
Marry our film is the most lamentable comedy, the most cruel death of Pyramus and Thisbe.
A very good piece of work, I assure you, and a merry. Now, good Peter, one more time.
Quince.
Quince, call forth your actors by the scroll. Masters, spread yourselves.
Answer as I call you. Nick Bottom.
Nicholas, if you wouldn't mind.
Nicholas Bottom.
Ready. Name what part I am for and proceed.
You, Nicholas Bottom, are set down for Pyramus.
And what is a Pyramus? A lover or a tyrant?
A lover who kills himself most gallant for love.
Oh, well that'll last some tears in the true performing of it. If I do it, let the audience look to their eyes. I will move storms. I will condole in some measure.
Good.
To the rest, though, my chief humor is for a tyrant. I could play Heracles Raleigh or part to tear a cat in. To make all split the raging rocks, and shivering shocks shall break the locks of prison gates, and Phoebus' car shall shine from far and make another the foolish face. That was lofty. Now, name the rest of the players.
Robin Starveling.
Here, Peter Quince.
Oh. You, Robin Starveling, shall play Thisbe's mother, Francis Flute.
Yeah, Pete.
Here, Peter Quince.
Why?
For appearances, this is the theatre, just say it.
Here, Peter Quince.
Flute, you must take Thisbe on you.
What is Thisbe? A wandering knight?
It's the lady that Pyramus must love.
Nay, I may not play a woman. I have a beard.
To one you shall play it in a mask.
And I might hide my face. Let me play Thisbe too. I'll speak in a monstrous little voice. Thisbe.
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 Pyramus, my lover dear, thy Thisbe dear, and lady dear.
No. You must play Pyramus and Flute you, Thisbe.
Well, proceed.
Myself, Pyramus's father, Snug.
It's Snoog.
Really? Snoog?
Yeah.
Snoog, you the lion's part, and I hope that is a film. Fitted.
Have you the lion's part written? Pray you, if it be, give it me, for I am slow of study.
You may do it extempore, but it is nothing but roaring.
Well, let me play the lion too. I will roar that I will do any man's heart good to hear me. I will roar that I will make the Duke say, let him roar again. Let him roar again.
You can play no part, but Pyramus. For Pyramus, a sweet-faced man, a proper man as one shall see on a summer's day, a most lovely, gentlemanlike man. Therefore you must needs play Pyramus.
Well, I'll undertake it. What beard were I best to play it in, huh?
Why? What you will, but masters, here are your parts. And I am to entreat you, request you, desire you to con them by tomorrow night and meet me in the palace wood a mile without the town. There we will rehearse. For if we meet in the city, we shall be dogged with company and our devices known. I pray you, fail me not.
We will meet, and there we may rehearse most obscenely and courageously. Take pains. Be perfect. Adieu.
At the Duke's Oak we meet.
Enough! Hold or cut bowstrings. First one here, huh? Okay. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. Oh, 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 oh,
Bottom, mute off. We could hear you.
oh.
Want to know?
Are we all met?
Pat, and here's a marvelous, convenient place for our rehearsal.
Peter Quinn.
It's
Peter Quince.
What sayest thou, Bully Bottom?
There are things in this comedy of Pyramus and Thisbe that will never please. First, Pyramus must draw a sword to kill himself. How answer you that?
Oh, I think we should leave the killing out when all's done.
Not a whit. Shh. I have a device to make all well. Write me a prologue, and let the prologue seem to say we will do no harm with our swords, and that Pyramus is not killed indeed. And for the more better assurance, tell them that I, Pyramus, am not Pyramus, but Bottom. This will put them out of fear.
Well, we will have such a prologue, and it shall be written in 8 and 6.
No. Make it 2 more. Let it be written in 8 and 8.
Will not the audience be afeard of the lion?
Well, I fear it. I promise you.
And therefore, another prologue must tell she is not a lion.
Well, it shall be so. But there is 2 hard things. That is, to bring the moonlight into a chamber. Then there is another thing. We must have a wall in the great chamber, for Pyramus and Thisbe, says the story, did talk through a chink of a wall.
You can never bring in a wall. What say you, Bottom?
Well, some man or other must present wall.
Well, if that may be, then all is well. Come, sit down, every mother's son, and rehearse your parts. Pyramus, you begin. When you have spoken your speech, enter into that break. And so is everyone according to his cue.
What hempen homespuns have we swaggering here? So near the cradle of the fairy queen. What, a play towards? I'll be an auditor. An actor too, if I see cause. Put my name in here.
Pyramus, Thisbe, stand forth.
Thisbe, the flowers of odor savor sweet.
Odors. Odorous.
Odor savor sweet. So hath thy breath, my dearest Thisbe dear. But hark, a voice. Stay thou but here a while, and by I will to thee appear.
A stranger Pyramus that e'er played here.
Oh, must I speak now?
Mary, must you? For you must understand that he goes but to see a noise that he heard, and is to come again.
Oh, most radiant Pyramus, most lily white of hue.
No, higher, 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 like a lovely lady would do it. Yes, up there.
Like this?
Yes.
Oh, most radiant Pyramus, most lily white of hue, of colour like the red rose on triumphant briar. I'll make thee Pyramus at Ninny's tomb.
Ninus tomb, man. Why? You must not speak that yet. That must not be Pyramus. You speak all your part at once, cues and all. Pyramus, enter, your cue is past.
If I were fair, Thisbe, I will only die. Why do they run away? Is this some sort of British knavery of them to make me afeared?
But what changed? What do I see on thee?
Well, what do you see, huh? What, you see an ass head of your own? Do you? Huh? Yeah!
Leslie Bottom are translated.
Oh, I see their knavery. This is to make an ass of me. To frighten me, yeah, if they could. I'll not stir from this place, do what they can. I will stay right here, and I will sing, that they shall hear that I am not afeared. What shall I sing, huh? Okay. She's into superstitions, black cats and voodoo dolls. I feel a premonition. This girl's gonna make me fall.
What angel wakes me from my flowery bed?
She'll make you take your clothes off and go dancing in the rain. She'll make you live her crazy life, but she'll take away your pain like a bullet to your brain. Come on, upside, inside out. She's living la vida loca. She'll push and pull you down. She's living la vida loca. How art thou doing?
I pray thee, gentle mortal, sing again. Mine ear is much enamoured of thy note. So is mine eye enthralled to thy shape. Thy fair virtue's force perforce do move me. On the first view to say, to swear, I love thee.
Oh, methinks, mistress, you should have little reason for that, and yet to say that truth, reason, and love keeps little company together nowadays.
Thou art as wise as thou art beautiful.
Oh, not so neither, but if I had wit enough to get out of this Zoom, I have enough to serve mine own turn.
Out of this Zoom do not desire to go. Thou shalt remain here, whether thou wilt or no. I am a spirit of no common rate. The summer still doth tend upon my state, and I do love thee. Therefore go with me. I'll give thee fairies to attend on thee, and they shall fetch thee jewels from the deep, and sing while thou on pressed flowers do sleep. And I shall purge your mortal grossness so, that thou may like an airy spirit go.
Oh, I gotta say, this reminds me of a party at Brendan Fraser's place that I was at last month. Oh.
Come, sit thee down upon this flowery bed, whilst I thy amiable cheeks do coy, and stick musk roses in thy sleek smooth head, and kiss thy fair large ears, my gentle joy. What, wilt thou hear some music, my sweet love?
Well, I have a reasonable good ear in music. Let's have the tongs and the bone. Ah!
Or say, sweet love, what thou desirest to eat.
Truly a peck of provender. I can munch your good dry oats. Methinks I have a great desire for a bottle of wine. Wine. Hey! Good hay, sweet hay, have no fellow.
Sleep thou, and I will wind thee in my arms. Oh, how I love thee, how I dote on thee.
When my cue comes, call me, and I will answer. My next is most fair Paramus. Hey ho. Peter Quiche. Flute. Snook. Starveling. God's my life. Stolen hence and left me asleep. I have had a most rare vision. I have had a dream, past the wit of man to say what dream it was. Man is but an ass if he go about expound this dream. Methought I was. Yeah, there's no man that can tell what. Methought I was, and methought I had. Oh. But man is but a patch fool if he'll offer to say what methought I had. The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen, man's hand is not able to taste, his tongue to conceive, nor his heart to report what my dream was. I will get Peter Mintz to write a movie of this dream, and it should be called Bottom's Dream, for it hath no bottom.
Have you sent to Bottom's house? Has he come home yet? He cannot be heard of. Out of doubt, he is transported. Maybe to a donkey sanctuary or something. No.
If he comes not, then the film is marred. It goes not forward, doth it?
It's not possible. You have not a man in all Athens able to discharge Pyramus, but he is a very paramour for a sweet voice.
You must say paragon. A paramour is a thing of naught.
But, what's
Masters, the Duke is coming from the temple, and there are 2 or 3 lords and ladies more married. If our sport had gone forward, we had all been made men.
Oh, sweet bully Bottom!
Oi, oi! Where are these lads? Where are these hearts?
Bottom! Oh, most courageous day, oh, most happy hour!
Masters, I am to discourse wonders.
Oh, tell us.
What? For if I tell you I am not true American, I will tell you all right as it fell out.
Let us hear, sweet Bottom.
Not a word of me. All that I will tell you is that the Duke hath dined.
Died?
No, dined. Get your apparel together. No more words. Go away. Wait. Come on. We got a movie to make.
Yes. If we film all of Bottom's bits now, we might just be able to edit them in time.
If we offend, it is with our good will. You should think we come not to offend, but with good will. To show our simple skill, that is the true beginning of our end. Consider then, we come but in despite. We do not come as minding to content you. Our true intent is all for your delight. We are not here that you should here repent you. The actors are at hand, and by their show, you shall know all that you are like to know.
Alack. Alack. Alec. No, that's not right. Alack. I fear my Thisby's promise is forgot. No Thisby do I see. Oh, wicked ball!
Fireball.
Ow.
Pyramus, are you on the internet?
No, in truth, sir.
O wall, full often hast thou heard my moans for parting my fair Pyramus and me.
Oh, great. I'm not even credited. Right. I'm out.
Oh, my love, thou art my love, I think. Oh, that wasn't my line. Sorry.
Tide life, tide death, I come without delay. Thisby, get off the net!
Oh, hey man, how's it going?
How are you doing, man? You're in the shot. Get out.
Right, fine.
Jesus Christ, bunch of amateurs.
This is old Ninus's tomb, but where is my love?
My bit's coming up!
Yes, about that. Don't have to pay for stock footage.
I thank thee, moon, for shining now so bright. I trust to take truest Thisby's side. What dreadful doll is here? What the hell was that? I had...
Ignore it. I'm sure it's fine.
Nature is the lion's friend.
Good work there.
What? Dead, my dove?
Very moving. I think that's quite enough of that.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Has it stopped?
I think it has.
I'm closing. There we go. You go.
Yeah, memories of a year ago putting on that show. If anyone who saw the show live is watching, that's probably give you a better viewing of the film at the end there, because when
and on a projector screen.
In open air, unless you're right next to the screen, you could just see the sunlight. But yeah, also we realized once you put the film on, we couldn't switch our own camera off. So,
didn't realize we were on camera for a while, and that slunk away.
Right off camera. We were muted, at least that was something.
Yeah.
But yes, there that is. So I think that's all that's left now to just to wrap up.
Thank you.
And say thank you to everyone getting involved. I think Sally has had to hop off. I think we this event ran longer than we anticipated. But that's what happens when it's sort of thrown together. But yes, thanks very so much to Sally and to Georgina and to Emerson for agreeing to volunteer your time and take part in this event. Thank you so much to Helen and Bristol Shakespeare for accommodating us and allowing us to play upon your patience way longer than we anticipated, to indulge us our messing about. And thank you to IntoBodmin as well for helping to share this event around. Over to you.
And yeah, thank you to anyone who tuned in, even if just for a few minutes, or who tuned in for the whole thing, anything at all, tuning in. That's very kind of you to do so. This was again for the Bristol Shakespeare Festival and for IntoBodmin, and we're really happy to be working with such brilliant organizations. Look them up, follow them on social media.
And yes, we look forward to being back there live and in person as soon as we can.
So it's coming up to nearly 5:30. Yet let's wrap up. Thank you, everyone. And does anyone else have anything to say before we go?
Just a massive
Still
thank
0-0.
Thank you so much to all of you guys for being here today. I really appreciate it. And yeah, given that we were way longer than we anticipated, thanks so much for still being around and not slinking off to enjoy your dinner.
And you too.
Yes, which you can now do, by the way. You are now free to slink off and enjoy your dinner and the rest of your evening.
Yeah, have lovely Sundays, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the evening. And just as a reminder, we're Sun and Moon Theatre. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. We also have a website as well, and our email is listed in the description if you want to find out more about what we're doing. And just as a reminder, we've got another readathon, Austin Readathon, coming up
on the 15th and 16th of August. So yes, so get in touch, follow our social media over the next couple of weeks. If you're interested in getting involved, then please do sign up.
Save the arts.
Hashtag Save the Arts, hashtag Austin Readathon. That's all this to come in due course. But yes, just that reminder there.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you so much if you've tuned in. Thank you for indulging us. And we hope to see you live and in person as soon as we are able to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.